Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our custom engine build series. In the last video we left off, we finished up our block, our crankshaft, we have our custom ignition system. Now we need some way to turn the engine over, so let's work on getting a starter rigged up. It has been a long cold winter, but I am back to try and show you a few things. I came out to my garage and figured, you know what? I got an hour to kill, let's get back to work on this, because it's been cold, I've been extremely busy, but, I mean, I still like projects, I still like working on stuff, so let's try and take what little motivation I have at the moment and continue. So where we left off, we were working with a starter to try and get this thing to spin over. Trying to put a drill on the end and just spin the nut didn't work out super well, it can't quite get going fast enough. So I want to try and use the original pole starter. We can see here on a regular single, the normal version, we've got three holes, they line up real good. But on this one, you can see where it lines up. I know things are sideways, but we still have this hole up here, but the other two, one was right there, the other one was right there. So they're gone. So I get to try and figure out how to get these gears onto there. So basically we're going to sacrifice this piece. I have more from all the leaf blowers that I've cannibalized so far. But we're going to start cutting into this piece by piece and just trimming it down until we get it flush, and then figure out if we can mount something, like make a bracket over here or down here that can maybe mount to the side. Alright, I'm going to start drawing lines and cutting. So, next video clip.
In my mind, I slowly drifting by. All the poems I wrote for you, they made me blind, they made me lie. Heard you in the rain, will you always be there?
This is why you can't cut plastic with a rotary tool. It melts, and then you get this wonderful lip on it. It's just solid plastic. You can't cut anything. Ugh.
Last thing you sorry if it's too late. Heard you in the rain, will you always be there?
Okay, so I got a different tool. Not sure if this is going to be able to focus. It's got little serrated teeth on it. It's cutting a lot better.
Last thing you said. Sorry if it's too
Okay, I take it back. These teeth are starting to get pretty dull. So So you can see there's like a little bit of melted plastic. It's just really thin. So I think trying to cut heavy plastic, like there's still some teeth there, they're just wearing out way too quickly. So I'm going to step up to the bigger, scarier ones that are thicker and have wider teeth. See if those are better. And if they last a little bit longer. It's going a bit fast, it's kind of melting it a bit. Turn it down to like 12,000 RPM. But it's getting there.
Cloudy skies and lips of fire and stars between these two worlds to try to find your own. I try to run, try to hide. I needed to survive. Heard you in the rain. Will you always be there? The last thing you said. Sorry if it's too late. Heard you in the rain. Will you always be there?
Alrighty, so we have our bracket on here, but it kind of moves around a little bit. It's only mounted in one location, so I need to find a way to brace it. So I've got these two bolts that are already working to hold this plate, the distributor plate, to the old fan housing. So if I just get some longer bolts, which I actually have some spare hardware here, these should be long enough that I have enough room to just go ahead and use this. We'll just drill a hole there, and then we can just mount to the plastic, mount to there, and then that should solve the shaking, the moving. And then, you know, this is thick enough, it should be sturdy enough, we can actually use this to pull start it. And then we're one step closer to starting it. So I'm gonna go ahead and make these real quick, and then give it a few test cranks to see if it's actually durable enough.
Down to the ground, you're dragging me. It's constantly. No, I won't make a sound. I love the pain. It sets me free. It's wrong, I can't think right. I love the better below you said myself. That this is the last time. It's wrong, I can't make right. Slipping off in the moonlight when I knew the truth. I had myself for you. On the ground, I know the truth. I know the truth. you say those things, then shut me out.
This is gonna be awesome. With the engine so close to starting, I decided to throw on some carburetors, rig up a temporary fuel system, and try and start it just on one cylinder to see if it would do anything. Unfortunately, after cranking for about 85 times, I decided that, maybe I should check for spark because it's not doing anything. Okay, so I'm checking spark plug gap. You can see this one, it's 0.305 millimeters. And it's going in between the magnet and the ignition coil. So I mean the gap is like a little bit more than that. We go up to 0.5 millimeters, 0.508. That doesn't want to go in, it's getting stuck on something. So the gap here is pretty good. This is the one that fires up, we know it's good. Now if we go over to 4-cylinder, can't get my camera up high enough or zoom out far enough, but so if we go to 0.5, oh yeah, there's tons of room in there. Let's see if we go all the way up to the biggest feeler gauge size, 0.6, so this is double the spec. Oh yeah, still plenty of space. Yeah, so the spark plug gap on the 4-cylinder is way too big, so I'm going to try and scooch these closer to the magnet, because this magnet's plenty strong. There should be no issues with the magnet. The flywheel has a key built into it, so it shouldn't have slipped. I've already checked that before. So it's not even running, so just from cranking it's not going to slip a key and become out of timing. So I think it's just the weak spark from having way too much gap between the magnet and the coil. So we're gonna just mess with that and see if we can get some better spark. Hopefully this will catch it. So this is before adjusting the gap. Once you get going full speed, it starts to go, but at like lower RPM, which is what it's going to be when I'm trying to pull start it, it's not even sparking at all. So let's go ahead and adjust the gap and see if it gets any better.
But you cut me down. It's wrong, I can't make right. I love the bottom below you, telling myself that this is the last time. It's wrong, I can't make right. Slipping off in the moonlight when I knew the truth. I had myself for you. I know the truth.
I don't know if you can see all of them going, but we're getting a lot better spark, even at low RPM. So let me see if I can show you. So up top here, you see we have a much tighter clearance between everything, almost touching but not quite. That's kind of the spec since it's so small. All the way around. It's not touching, but it's really darn close. So that should be an improvement. Let's try and fire something up. With the spark issue sorted out, I tried starting it on one cylinder yet again with the jerry-rigged fuel system and the carburetor with unknown settings. It still wasn't running or sparking, or well, the spark was fine. It still wasn't running and like wasn't attempting to fire. So there's definitely some issues with the carburetor. I decided to take them all off, take them all apart, rebuild them, clean them, and tune them all to make sure that they were all set up properly. So let's get into that process. For the carburetor tuning, my thought process was to take everything apart all the way down to just the bare individual components, clean everything really good, make sure there's no sediment or junk built up, make sure there's no obvious signs of damage like scratches or cracks in the castings or any tears or holes in the various diaphragms and gaskets. Put everything back together, and then take the carbs one at a time, put them onto the unmodified single-cylinder leaf blower, tune it, make sure the performance is good. So it has good idle, it has good power and acceleration when you give it throttle. The RPMs climb quickly and consistently. It doesn't bog down at low RPM, it doesn't bog down at high RPM, and it just has good kind of responsiveness throughout the rev range. And then I would take those settings, write them down, how many screw turns of each various adjustment screw, get all of the carburetors tuned the exact same way, make sure all of them work by putting them on the single cylinder engine, running them all, make sure they all have similar throttle characteristics, just to prove that all 4 carbs are going to be synchronized and have the same settings. Normally with like a motorcycle or something that has synchronized carbs, there is a way to kind of use like a vacuum gauge to synchronize the like the throttle openings and how much vacuum it's drawing, and that is how you would do your adjustment. But in this case, what we're doing is too small and there's no like really extra vacuum ports to connect that device to. So just trying to kind of count how many turns and half turns each of the adjustment screws is like the best way of adjusting it. So we're just going to kind of go through a quick time lapse of doing all those adjustments, and yeah, that's basically the process. Take everything apart, clean it, put it back together, adjust it. If you want to know more about adjusting carburetors, and especially 2-stroke carburetors for small engines, there's tons of resources out there for small engine repair. I'll try and link a few different channels in the comments. There's a bunch of different videos. Just look up, what brand you're looking for, just, carburetor rebuild, how 2-strokes work, tuning 2-stroke carburetors, stuff like that. There's tons of resources out there. So I basically looked through a bunch of those to get the basic concepts of how stuff works and what the adjustments do and why, and kind of what the end result should look like, and then applied that to these carburetors when I was doing all the adjustments. It works! Oh yeah! I love it.
If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the long road, thought I'd be better on my own. Sometimes was too young, and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you hindsight is fleeting when your heart's bleeding and all you can see is red, till you discover it is within each other to forgive and make amends. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the long road, thought I'd be better on my own. Sometimes what's right is wrong instead, 'cause I was too young, and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you again. Oh, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait, 'cause I was too young, and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you
And with that, our engine is all back together. We are getting much closer to starting. All we need is a throttle linkage and a fuel system, and then a way to reliably crank the engine many, many times to make sure we can get it started. So next video, I promise it will be a first start video. We are so close to the end. I don't care if this last 5% of the project takes me a year. The next video on this custom engine is going to be a first start video. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss out when that gets uploaded, because it's going to be epic when it works. I'm trying to stay positive, all right? We've had a lot of setbacks, a lot of unexpected things that came up. It's going a little slower than I wanted, but we are trying to stay positive. It's gonna work. It's gonna be awesome. So definitely subscribe if you liked this video. Make sure you like and leave a comment below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.